My divorced husband kept forcing me to reunite. Later, I found out he was on parole for taking the lives of all his ex-wives. My name is Rachel, and I should have trusted my gut the first time Marcus showed up at my apartment uninvited. It was a Tuesday evening in March when I heard the knocking. Not a normal knock either. 3 sharp raps, then silence, then 3 more. That was his pattern. The pattern he used when we were married and he'd forgotten his keys. My stomach dropped. I opened the door with the chain still on. "Marcus, what are you doing here?" He smiled that smile. The one that used to make my knees weak 7 years ago. Now it just made my skin crawl. "Can't a guy check on his ex-wife?" "I was in the neighborhood. We've been divorced for 3 years. You don't get to just show up." "Rachel, come on, don't be like that." I brought coffee. He held up 2 cups from that expensive place downtown. My usual order. Caramel macchiato with extra foam. That detail bothered me more than anything else. He remembered. I didn't open the chain. "I'm busy, Marcus. You need to leave." His smile didn't fade, but something flickered in his eyes. Something cold. "I just want to talk. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." "No." I closed the door. My hands were shaking. Through the wood, I heard him say, "I'll be back, Rach. We're not done." That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, he'd shown up 6 more times. I called my best friend Jennifer that night. She'd never liked Marcus, not even when we were engaged. "File a restraining order," she said immediately. "This is stalking behavior. I don't know if I can prove anything. He hasn't threatened me. He just keeps showing up." "Rachel, listen to me. This man gives me the creeps. He always has. There's something off about him." Jennifer worked as a paralegal. She'd seen plenty of cases like this, she said. Men who couldn't let go. Men who escalated. I promised her I'd think about it. But here's the thing about Marcus. When we were married, he was never violent. Never raised his voice. He was controlling, yes. Manipulative, absolutely. But violent? I never saw that side of him. Maybe that's why I hesitated. The next morning, I found flowers on my car. Red roses, 2 dozen. No card, but I knew they were from him. My office building had security cameras in the parking garage. I made a mental note to ask for the footage. Work was impossible that day. I'm an accountant at a mid-sized firm, and I had 3 client meetings scheduled, but I couldn't focus. I kept checking my phone, half expecting to see Marcus's name pop up. During lunch, my coworker Melissa asked if I was okay. "Just dealing with ex-husband drama," I said. "The hot one from the Christmas party 2 years ago?" I'd made the mistake of bringing Marcus as my +1 before the divorce was finalized. We were trying to work things out back then. That lasted about 2 months before I realized I was making a huge mistake. "Yeah, that one. He won't stop contacting me." Melissa leaned in. "Girl, you need to shut that down. My sister went through something similar. It got bad." "How bad?" She lowered her voice. "He broke into her apartment, just to prove he could, just to scare her." My blood ran cold. That afternoon, I called a lawyer, not to file for a restraining order yet, but to understand my options. The lawyer, a woman named Patricia Chen, was direct. "Document everything. Every text, every call, every time he shows up. Take photos, save voicemails, build a paper trail. If this escalates, you'll need evidence. And if he doesn't stop, then we file for protection. But judges want to see a pattern. Start documenting now." I started a file on my laptop that night, a spreadsheet actually, because that's what accountants do when their lives fall apart. We make spreadsheets, date, time, location, what happened, any witnesses. It looked sparse on the screen. 7 incidents in 3 weeks. But seeing it written out like that made it feel more real, more threatening. Marcus texted me at 11 p.m. "I miss you. We were good together. Why can't you see that?" I didn't respond. Patricia had told me not to engage. Another text. "I saw you got the flowers. You used to love roses." Then, "We need to talk, Rachel, face to face." Then, "I'm not giving up on us." I blocked his number. I should have done it weeks ago. 2 days of silence. I almost relaxed. Then Jennifer called. Me at work, her voice tight with panic. "Rachel, Marcus showed up at my house." My heart stopped. "What? When?" 20 minutes ago. "He knocked on my door and asked where you were. He said you weren't answering his calls and he was worried about you." "What did you tell him?" "I told him to leave or I'd call the police. He just smiled at me, Rachel, like it was funny, like I was being dramatic. Then he left." I felt sick. "Jen, I'm so sorry. He shouldn't have." "Listen to me. This is serious now. He's escalating. He went to your best friend's house. What's next? Your parents? Your office?" She was right. This had crossed a line. "I'm filing for the restraining order today," I said. "Right now." Patricia got me in that afternoon. We filled out the paperwork together. The petition for an order of protection. I had to describe every incident, explain why I felt threatened, why I feared for my safety. "Has he ever been violent?" Patricia asked. "No, not with me." "Has he threatened violence?" "Not explicitly." She nodded, writing notes. "The judge will decide if this meets the threshold. It might take a few days to get a hearing." I left her office, feeling both relieved and terrified. Relieved that I was finally taking action. Terrified about how Marcus would react. He found out faster than I expected. That night, my phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "A restraining order, Rachel? Really?" Marcus's voice was calm. Too calm. That's when he was most dangerous, I'd learned during our marriage. When he was quiet and measured and spoke like he was explaining something simple to a child. "You've been stalking me," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You went to Jennifer's house. You can't do that." "Stalking? I was checking on you, making sure you're okay. Is that a crime now?" "Yes, actually. When someone asks you to leave them alone and you don't, that's stalking." Silence. "Then, you're making a mistake, Rachel. We belong together. I've been trying to show you that. We're divorced, Marcus. We don't belong together. We haven't for 3 years. The divorce was your mistake. I never wanted it. I told you we could work through our problems. There was nothing to work through. I didn't love you anymore. I don't love you now. I heard him breathe in and out, slow and deliberate. You'll change your mind, he said. You always do. He hung up. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped my phone. It clattered on the kitchen floor and the screen cracked. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound in my apartment building made me jump. Every creak, every footstep in the hallway, every door closing. I kept checking the locks on my door, the chain, the deadbolt. I even pushed a chair under the doorknob like in the movies. The hearing for the restraining order was scheduled for Friday, 3 days away. I took those 3 days off work, called in sick. I couldn't focus anyway, and the thought of walking through that parking garage alone made me want to throw up. Jennifer came to stay with me. She brought wine and Chinese takeout and her boyfriend Tyler, who was 6'3" and had played college football. I'm not leaving you alone until this is resolved, she said firmly. That's when I knew how serious this was. Jennifer had 2 kids and a demanding job. For her to drop everything and camp out in my apartment meant she was genuinely scared for me. Has he contacted you again? Tyler asked. He was sitting by the window looking out at the parking lot. No, not since the phone call. That's almost worse, Jennifer muttered. The silence is worse. She was right. The not knowing was eating me alive. Thursday afternoon, Patricia called. Rachel, I need to tell you something. It's about Marcus. My stomach clenched. What? I did some digging. Background check, court records, the usual due diligence we do for these cases. And, she paused, long enough that I knew whatever came next was bad. Marcus has a record. He served 8 years in prison. He got out 14 months ago. The room tilted. Prison? For what? Another pause. Longer this time. Rachel, he was convicted of taking someone's life, his first wife. Her name was Amanda. I couldn't breathe. The words didn't make sense. Marcus was a lot of things, but he couldn't be. Are you sure? My voice sounded far away. I'm looking at the court documents right now. He was convicted of manslaughter. He served his sentence at Sing Sing. He's been on parole since last February. 1 month before he started showing up at my apartment. There's more, Patricia said softly. There was another wife between Amanda and you. Her name was Crystal. She passed away 4 years ago. Ruled an accident at the time. She fell down the stairs in their home. The Chinese food I'd eaten earlier threatened to come back up. Rachel, are you still there? I'm here. Barely. The police investigated Crystal's passing, but they couldn't prove anything. Marcus wasn't charged, but given his history with Amanda and now his behavior with you, Rachel, I think you're in serious danger. The hearing is tomorrow. I know. We'll get that restraining order. But in the meantime, you need to call the police. Tell them everything. Tell them about Marcus's record, his parole status, the fact that he's been harassing you. I called the police as soon as we hung up. 2 officers came to my apartment, Officer Ramirez and Officer Park. They were young, professional, sympathetic. I told them everything. The showing up uninvited, the flowers, the texts, the call, Jennifer's visit from Marcus. And you're just now learning about his criminal history? Officer Park asked. We got married 8 years ago. We were only married for 2 years. I guess he served his time before we met, and I never thought to look. How could I have been so stupid? How had I not known? Officer Ramirez made notes. Did he tell you about Amanda? No. He told me he was divorced twice. He said his first wife left him for someone else. He said the second marriage was a quick rebound that didn't work out. Lies. All lies. And Crystal. Did he mention her? Never. Not once. I didn't even know she existed until an hour ago. The officers exchanged looks. We'll contact his parole officer, Officer Park said. If he's been violating parole conditions by stalking you, that's grounds for revocation. He could go back to prison. How long will that take? Depends. Could be days. Could be weeks. In the meantime, stay vigilant. Don't go anywhere alone. Keep your doors locked. If he shows up again, call 911 immediately. Don't try to talk to him. After they left, I just sat on my couch, staring at the wall. Jennifer sat next to me, her arm around my shoulders. I married someone who took a life, I whispered. I slept next to him for 2 years. How did I not know? Because he didn't want you to know, Tyler said from the window. Guys like that are good at hiding who they really are. That night, I couldn't sleep again. But this time it wasn't just fear keeping me awake. It was questions. How many lies had Marcus told me? What else didn't I know about him? And the biggest question of all, had I been in danger during our entire marriage without realizing it? I thought about Crystal falling down the stairs. An accident? Was it an accident? Or was it something else? And Amanda, manslaughter. What did that mean? What had Marcus done to her? I grabbed my laptop and started searching. Amanda Westbrook. That was her maiden name, according to the court records Patricia had sent me. She passed away in 2008, 16 years ago. I found her obituary first. Amanda Westbrook Holloway, beloved daughter and sister, taken too soon at age 28. She leaves behind her husband, Marcus, and her parents, Robert and Jean Westbrook. The obituary didn't say how she passed. They usually don't when it's not natural. Causes. I dug deeper. Found a newspaper article from a local paper in upstate New York. Man charged in wife's passing. Marcus Holloway, 30, has been charged with manslaughter in the passing of his wife, Amanda, 28. Police say Amanda passed in their home on the night of March 15th. The cause of her passing has not been released. Holloway is being held without bail. I found the trial coverage. It took months to find all the articles, piecing together the story from different sources. Marcus had claimed Amanda fell and hit her head. They'd been arguing, he said. She'd been drinking. She slipped, fell, hit the corner of the coffee table. He called 911, but it was too late. The prosecution prosecution argued that the injuries weren't consistent with a fall, that there was evidence of strangulation before the head trauma, that Marcus had staged the scene to look like an accident. The jury convicted him of manslaughter instead of a more serious charge. 8 years in prison. I wanted to throw up. Then I searched for Crystal Morrison. She'd kept her maiden name when she married Marcus. Her obituary was shorter. Crystal Morrison, 32, passed away suddenly on April 3, 2021. She is survived by her mother, Linda Morrison, and her husband, Marcus Holloway. April 2021, 4 years ago, right after Marcus got out of prison, I found one news article about Crystal's passing, barely a mention. Woman found at bottom of staircase. Crystal Morrison, 32, was found deceased at the bottom of the stairs in her home by her husband, Marcus Holloway. Police are investigating but say there are no signs of foul play. Morrison's passing appears to be accidental. Appears to be, but was it? Marcus marries Amanda. Amanda ends up gone. Marcus goes to prison. Marcus gets out, marries Crystal. Crystal falls down the stairs. Accident. Marcus and I get married 6 months after Crystal passes. We're married for 2 years. We divorce, and now Marcus won't leave me alone. I was next. I understood that now with horrible clarity. I was supposed to be next, but I'd gotten away. I'd divorced him, and now he was trying to fix that mistake. Friday morning came, the restraining order hearing. Patricia met me at the courthouse. I looked terrible. I hadn't slept in 2 days. My eyes were puffy and red. The judge will see you in 20 minutes, Patricia said. I've prepared all the documentation, including the information about Marcus's criminal history. Will he be there? Marcus? He should be. He has the right to contest the order. My stomach churned. I didn't want to see him. Not now. Not ever again. We waited in a cold hallway outside the courtroom. Jennifer sat with me, holding my hand. Tyler had gone to my apartment to keep watch, make sure Marcus didn't try anything while I was gone. Then I saw him. Marcus walked down the hallway like he owned the place. Suit and tie, clean-shaven, confident smile. He saw me, and his smile widened. Rachel. Good to see you. Patricia stepped between us. Mr. Holloway, you're not supposed to approach her. Relax, counselor. We're in a courthouse. I'm just saying hello to my ex-wife. Former wife, I said, finding my voice. And you need to stay away from me. Something flickered across his face. Annoyance, maybe, or anger, but he covered it quickly. Covered it. That's what we're here to determine, isn't it? Whether I've done anything wrong. You went to her friend's house, Patricia said. You've been showing up at her home uninvited. You've been texting and calling after she asked you to stop. That's harassment. Marcus shrugged. That's love. I love my wife. Is that a crime? Ex-wife, I repeated. We're divorced. A mistake. Your mistake. One we can fix. A bailiff called us into the courtroom before I could respond. The hearing was surreal. Patricia presented all our evidence. The texts, the flowers, Jennifer's testimony about Marcus showing up at her house, the timeline of incidents. Then she brought up Marcus's criminal record. Your Honor, the petitioner recently learned that Mr. Holloway served 8 years for manslaughter. His victim was his first wife, Amanda. There was also a second wife, Crystal, who passed in what was ruled an accident, though the circumstances are suspicious. Given this history and Mr. Holloway's current stalking behavior, we believe Ms. Rachel is in imminent danger. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, looked at Marcus over her glasses. Mr. Holloway, is it true you were convicted of manslaughter? Yes, Your Honor, but I served my time. I paid my debt to society. That was 16 years ago. And your second wife, Crystal Morrison? A tragic accident. The police investigated thoroughly. They found no evidence of wrongdoing. Yet you didn't think to inform Ms. Rachel about your past when you married her? Marcus hesitated, just for a second. It wasn't relevant to our relationship. I'd put that chapter of my life behind me. Not relevant? The judge's voice was sharp. You don't think your wife had a right to know about your criminal history? I was afraid she'd judge me, that she wouldn't give me a chance. The judge looked at me. Ms. Rachel, did you know about Mr. Holloway's past when you married him? No. Your Honor, he lied to me. He told me he'd been divorced twice. He never mentioned Amanda or Crystal or prison. The judge made notes. Then she looked back at Marcus. Mr. Holloway, why have you been contacting Ms. Rachel after she asked you to? Stop? Because I love her, Your Honor. Because I believe our marriage can be saved. Divorce doesn't have to be the end. People reconcile all the time. Not when one party doesn't want to reconcile. Ms. Rachel has made it clear she wants no contact with you. Yet you continue to show up at her home, send flowers, text her, call her. You even went to her friend's house. Why? Marcus was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice had changed. Harder. Colder. Because she's mine. She'll always be mine. She just needs to remember that. The courtroom went silent. Patricia looked at me with wide eyes. The bailiff's hand moved closer to his belt. The judge's expression didn't change, but I saw her jaw tighten. Mr. Holloway, that kind of thinking is exactly why this court issues orders of protection. Ms. Rachel is not your property. She is not yours. She is a person with the right to choose who she wants in her life, and she has made it abundantly clear that she does not want you in hers. She signed the paperwork with a sharp flourish. Order of protection granted. Mr. Holloway, you are to have no contact with Ms. Rachel. No calls, no texts, no emails, no social media contact, no third-party contact. You are to stay at least 500 feet away from her home, her workplace, and any location where she may be. This order is effective immediately and will remain in place for 2 years. Violation of this order is a criminal offense and will result in your arrest. Do you understand? Marcus's face had gone blank. No emotion at all. That's when I knew knew he was truly dangerous. I understand, Your Honor. Furthermore, I'm ordering the court to notify your parole officer about this proceeding. Let's see if they have any concerns about your behavior. We left the courthouse through a side exit. Patricia insisted on it. She didn't want Marcus following us to the parking lot. That went well, she said, though her voice was shaky. The order is solid. He violates it, he goes to jail. Did you hear what he said? Jennifer asked. That she's his? That's psychopath talk. I know, Patricia said, which is why I'm also recommending you consider relocating, Rachel, at least temporarily, until his parole officer can intervene. I can't just leave my life, my job, my apartment. Your life won't matter if you're not alive to live it. The words hit like a slap. That evening I started packing. Not everything, just essentials. Clothes, laptop, important documents. I didn't know where I'd go yet, but I knew I couldn't stay in my apartment. Jennifer's place was too obvious. My parents lived 3 hours away in Connecticut, but Marcus knew where they lived. He'd been there for Thanksgiving once. I called my cousin Danielle in Boston. We weren't super close, but she'd always liked me. Of course you can stay with me, she said immediately when I explained the situation. Stay as long as you need. I have a spare bedroom. I told my boss I had a family emergency and needed to work remotely for a while. He was understanding, said to take all the time I needed. By Saturday evening, I was loading Tyler's truck with my stuff. Jennifer and Tyler were driving me to Boston. They wouldn't let me go alone. That's when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Ms. Rachel, this is Officer Ramirez. We spoke earlier this week. Yes, I remember. I wanted to give you an update. We contacted Marcus Holloway's parole officer. They brought him in for a meeting this morning, and he's being placed under stricter supervision. Daily check-ins, GPS monitoring. The parole board is considering whether to revoke his parole entirely, but that could take time. What does that mean for me? It means he's being watched. If he violates the restraining order, we'll know immediately. But Ms. Rachel, you should know something else. My heart sank. What? When Marcus left the parole office this afternoon, he made a comment to his officer. He said, "She can't hide from me forever." We don't know if he was referring to you, but given the timing, he was definitely talking about me. That's what we think too, which is why I'm calling. Where are you right now? I'm leaving town. Going to stay with family in Boston. Good, that's good. Don't tell anyone where you're going. Not friends, not coworkers. Nobody who might accidentally tell Marcus. I won't. And Rachel, keep your phone on. Stay in touch with us. If anything happens, anything at all, call 911 immediately. I hung up, my hands shaking worse than ever. What did he say? Jennifer asked, I told her. About Marcus's comment, about the GPS monitoring, about everything. We need to leave now, Tyler said. Right now, before it gets dark. We threw the last of my stuff in the truck and got on the road. I watched my apartment building disappear in the side mirror. I'd lived there for 4 years, since right after the divorce. It had been my safe space, my fresh start. Now I was running. The drive to Boston took 4 hours. I spent most of it staring out the window, jumping every time a car got too close. Behind us, Tyler noticed. It's okay. He doesn't know we're leaving. He doesn't know where we're going. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Marcus knew everything, that he was always one step ahead. Danielle lived in a nice brownstone in Back Bay, 3rd floor, security entrance, doorman. You'll be safe here, she said as she showed me the spare bedroom. The building has cameras everywhere. Nobody gets in without checking with the front desk first. I wanted to believe her. That first night in Boston, I barely slept. Every sound was Marcus. Every footstep in the hallway. Every door closing somewhere in the building. Jennifer and Tyler stayed until Sunday afternoon. They had to get back to their kids. Call me every day, Jennifer said, hugging me tight. Every single day. I need to know you're okay. I will. I promise. After they left, Danielle and I ordered pizza and watched Netflix. She didn't ask too many questions about Marcus, which I appreciated. She just let me exist without having to explain or relive everything. Monday came. I logged into work remotely. Tried to focus on spreadsheets and client accounts. It was impossible. Every email notification made me jump. Every text message. Even though I'd blocked Marcus's number, I kept thinking he'd find a way to contact me. Around noon, Patricia called. How are you holding up? I'm in Boston. Staying with my cousin. Smart. I wanted to update you. Marcus's parole officer called me this morning. They've decided to revoke his parole. My heart leaped. Really? He's going back to prison? Not yet. There's a hearing scheduled for next week. But given his behavior toward you, combined with his criminal history, the parole board believes he poses a risk to public safety. What happens if they revoke his parole? He serves the remainder of his original sentence, which in his case would be about 6 months. He had 2 years left when he was released early for good behavior. 6 months, not long, but better than nothing. In the meantime, Patricia continued, the GPS monitoring is in place, and the restraining order is active. He knows he can't contact you, but he also knows I'm gone. He's going to look for me. Let him look. He won't find you. You didn't tell anyone where you went, right? Just Jennifer and Tyler. And you. Good. Keep it that way. That week crawled by. Every day felt like a month. I worked. I ate. I slept badly. Danielle tried to cheer me up with outings, coffee shops, bookstores, walks along the Charles River. It helped a little. Boston felt far away from my old life. Anonymous. Safe. But I couldn't shake the paranoia. Every man who looked vaguely like Marcus made my heart race. Every dark-colored sedan that seemed to follow us for too long. Every time my phone rang with an unknown number. Friday afternoon, Patricia called again. Rachel, sit down. I have news. I was already sitting, but my stomach dropped anyway. What kind of news? Marcus's parole was revoked this morning. He's being taken back into custody as we speak. Relief washed over me so intensely I started crying. He's going back to prison? Yes. For 6 months minimum. Maybe longer if they find other violations. So I'm safe? I can go home? Patricia hesitated. I'd wait a few days. Make sure he's actually processed into the system. Make sure he's behind bars. But yes, theoretically, you should be safe. I called Jennifer immediately. She screamed so loudly I had to hold the phone away from my ear. Oh my God, Rachel, this is amazing. You can come home. Patricia says I should wait a few days, just to be sure. Okay, yes, smart. But then you're coming home. We're going to celebrate. We're going to get so drunk. I laughed. For the first time in weeks, I actually laughed. That weekend felt different. Lighter, like I could breathe again. Danielle and I went out for a nice dinner, celebrated with wine and dessert. I slept through the entire night for the first time since this nightmare started. Sunday morning, I started planning my return home. I'd go back Tuesday, I decided. Give it a few more days, just to be absolutely certain. My phone rang at 10 a.m. Officer Ramirez. Ms. Rachel, I need you to listen carefully and not panic. My blood turned to ice. What happened? Marcus Holloway escaped custody this morning. The world stopped. What? How? He was being transported from the courthouse to the facility. There was an incident during the transfer. Details are still coming in, but he overpowered a guard and fled. We have units searching for him now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Rachel, where are you right now? Boston. I'm in Boston. Stay there. Do not come back to New York. Marcus doesn't know where you are, and we need to keep it that way. How long has he been gone? About 2 hours. We've issued an all-points bulletin. We have his photo everywhere. Someone will spot him. You don't understand. Marcus is smart. He's been planning this. He knew what was coming. We're doing everything we can. In the meantime, you need to stay safe. Stay where you are. Keep your doors locked. Don't go out. Alone. After I hung up, I couldn't move, couldn't think, couldn't breathe. Danielle found me sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. Rachel, what's wrong? I told her. About Marcus escaping. About the manhunt. We need to call the police, she said immediately. Boston police. They need to know you're here and that you might be in danger. She was right. We called. 2 detectives came to her apartment within an hour. Detectives Morrison and Lee. They took my statement, documented everything. We're coordinating with NYPD, Detective Morrison said. All major transit hubs are being monitored. Airports, train stations, bus terminals. If Marcus tries to leave the state, we'll catch him. And if he's already here? I asked. He has no way of knowing you're in Boston, unless you told someone who might have told him. I only told 3 people. Jennifer, Tyler, and my lawyer. Nobody else. Then you're safe, but we'll have patrol. Units drive by this building regularly, just to be sure. After they left, Danielle and I pushed furniture against the door. We closed all the curtains. We sat in the living room with our phones charged and nearby. Maybe I should get a hotel, I said. I don't want to put you in danger. Absolutely not. You're safer here. This building has security. A hotel is too exposed. I spent that day jumping at every sound. The building was old, full of creaks and groans. The pipes rattled. The neighbors walked heavily overhead. Every noise was Marcus coming to find me. Monday morning came. No news about Marcus, no sightings, no arrests. He'd vanished. Detective Morrison called me at noon. We've been tracking Marcus's known associates, family, friends, former coworkers. Nobody's heard from him. His parole officer says he had no close relationships. He was essentially a loner. What about his phone? Can't you track that? He left his phone in the transport vehicle, probably deliberately, so he could be anywhere. Yes, the word hung between us. Ms. Rachel, I need to ask you something. Did Marcus ever mention any particular places? Somewhere he liked to go? Somewhere he felt safe? I thought hard. Our marriage felt like a lifetime ago now. He had a cabin, upstate New York, near Lake Placid. He inherited it from his father. We went there a few times when we were married. Do you have an address? No, but it was on a lake. Small, secluded. You had to take a dirt road to get to it. That's helpful. I'll pass this information along to the New York State Police. They can search the area. But I knew somehow that Marcus wasn't at the cabin. That was too obvious. Too easy. Marcus was coming to Boston. I don't know how I knew. Maybe it was intuition. Maybe it was fear talking. But I knew it in my bones. He was coming for me. Tuesday afternoon, I was sitting in Danielle's living room pretending to work when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. My hands shook as I opened it. Found you. Just 2 words. But I knew it was Marcus. I called Detective Morrison immediately. Then Officer Ramirez in New York forwarded them the text. Can you trace it? I asked. We're trying. The number is probably a burner phone, but we're working on triangulating the signal. He's in Boston. I know he is. Stay inside. We're sending units to your location now. Danielle and I moved to the interior bedroom. No windows. We locked the door and waited. 15 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. Another text. This time it was a photo. My stomach dropped. It was a picture of Danielle's building, taken from across the street. He's here, I whispered. He's outside. Right now. I called 911, told them everything. They said units were 2 minutes away. Those were the longest 2 minutes of my life. Another text came through. We need to talk, Rachel. Face to face, like adults. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely type a response. The police are coming. You need to leave. I'm not going anywhere. Not until we talk. There's nothing to talk about. We're divorced. It's over. It's not over until I say it's over. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Another text. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Then, I just want you to understand. Then, I loved Amanda. I loved Crystal. I loved you. But you all leave. You always leave. My blood ran cold. I never wanted to hurt any of you, but you forced my hand. I heard shouting outside, loud voices. Police? Then nothing. My phone didn't buzz again. 10 minutes later, Detective Morrison called. We have him. Marcus is in custody. I burst into tears. Danielle put her arm around me. He was across the street from your building when we arrived, sitting on a bench, watching the entrance. He didn't run, didn't resist, just asked if he could call you first. What did you tell him? We told him that's not how this works. Marcus was extradited back to New York the next day, charged with escape, violation of parole, stalking, violation of a restraining order, and multiple other offenses. His bail was denied. He'd be held in maximum security until trial. Patricia called me with updates. The prosecutors were building a case. They wanted to charge him with attempted harm against me, given his history and his behavior. They're also reopening Crystal's case, she said, looking at it as a possible intentional passing instead of an accident. Do they think they can prove it? I don't know, but they're trying. And Rachel, they want you to testify about Marcus's behavior, about the stalking, about everything he said and did. I'll do it, whatever they need. But first I needed to understand. I needed to know what had really happened to Amanda and Crystal. I needed to know what Marcus was capable of. Patricia helped me get in touch with Amanda's family. Her mother, Jean Westbrook, agreed to talk to me over the phone. I've thought about reaching out to you, Jean said. Her voice was tired, worn down by years of grief. When I heard Marcus got married again, I wanted to warn you, but I didn't know how to find you. And then I heard you divorced him, and I was relieved. Can you tell me what happened to Amanda? The real story? Jean was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice cracked. Amanda was the kindest person. Everyone loved her. When she started dating Marcus, we were happy for her. He seemed nice, polite, attentive, maybe too attentive, but we thought that was sweet. When did things change? After they got married. He became controlling. He wanted to know where she was every minute, who she was talking to, what she was doing. Amanda started making excuses not to see us. She'd cancel plans at the last minute. When we did see her, she seemed anxious, jumpy. I recognized that version of Amanda. I'd been that version of myself during my marriage to Marcus. We told her she could leave him, Jean continued. We told her she could come home, but she said she loved him, that he was just stressed about work, that things would get better. They didn't get better. No, they got worse. The night she passed, they'd been at a dinner party. Amanda's friend called us the next day, said Amanda and Marcus had gotten into an argument at the party. Amanda wanted to leave early. Marcus insisted they stay. The friend said Marcus had a look on his face she'd never seen before. Cold, angry, my chest tightened. They left the party around 10 p.m. Marcus called 911 at 11:30, said Amanda had fallen and hit her head. But the medical examiner found bruises on her neck, signs of strangulation. The coffee table story never made sense, but he was only convicted of manslaughter. His lawyer was good, really good. He argued that it wasn't premeditated, that Marcus and Amanda had been fighting. Things got out of hand. He grabbed her neck but didn't mean to harm her. Then she fell backward and hit her head. The jury believed enough of it to convict him of the lesser charge. Do you think he meant to do it? Jean's answer was immediate. Yes, I think he planned it. I think he was tired of Amanda wanting to leave him, and he decided if he couldn't have her, nobody could. After I hung up with Jean, I felt sick, but I also felt validated. I wasn't crazy. My fear of Marcus wasn't irrational. He'd taken Amanda's life because she wanted to leave. Crystal had probably wanted to leave too, and now he was after me because I'd actually succeeded in leaving. I tried to contact Crystal's mother next. Linda Morrison. It took me 3 days to find her number. When I finally called, she answered on the first ring. Hello, Mrs. Morrison? My name is Rachel. I was married to Marcus Holloway. Silence. Then, I'm sorry. Those 2 words said everything. I wanted to ask you about Crystal, about what happened to her. The police said it was an accident. They said she fell. But you don't believe that. Another long silence. No, I don't believe it. Why not? Because Crystal called me 2 days, before she passed. She said she was going to leave Marcus. She said she'd made a mistake marrying him so quickly after he got out of prison. She said she was scared of him. My hands gripped the phone tighter. Did she say why she was scared? He'd been getting more controlling, checking her phone, following her, accusing her of cheating when she worked late. She said it felt like being in prison herself. She was going to leave that weekend. She'd already rented an apartment. Did you tell the police this? Yes. They said they'd look into it, but then they ruled it an accident and closed the case. They said there was no evidence of foul play. Crystal's fall was consistent with an accident. She'd been drinking wine. She tripped. She fell down the stairs. But you think Marcus pushed her. I know Marcus pushed her. Crystal didn't drink much. 1 glass of wine, maybe 2. She wasn't clumsy. Those stairs were carpeted and well lit. She'd gone up and down them 100 times. She didn't just fall. Why didn't they charge him? Because they couldn't prove it. There were no witnesses. No evidence of a struggle. Just my daughter at the bottom of the stairs with a broken neck. Linda's voice broke on the last words. I'm so sorry, I said. I'm so sorry for what he did to Crystal. Me too. And I'm sorry for what he put you through. But I'm glad you got away. I'm glad you're still alive. That conversation haunted me for days. Crystal had been planning to leave, just like Amanda had probably been planning to leave. And Marcus had made sure they never could. I was the one who got away. The one who actually left and survived. That's why he couldn't let me go. Because I represented his failure, his loss of control. The trial was set for 6 months out. Marcus pleaded not guilty to everything. In the meantime, I tried to rebuild my life. I moved back to New York in November, but not to my old apartment. I found a new place in a different neighborhood. better security, doorman, cameras everywhere. Jennifer helped me install additional locks, a security system, panic buttons. You're safe now, she kept saying. He's locked up. He can't hurt you. But I kept thinking about Amanda and Crystal. Amanda, who probably trusted Marcus right up until the moment he ended her life. Crystal, who felt safe enough with Marcus after his release to marry him, thinking he'd learned his lesson. I thought about how close I'd come to being next. The trial started in April. The media picked up the story. Man who escaped custody accused of stalking ex-wife. Connection to 2 dead wives under investigation. I had to take a leave of absence from work. The attention was too much. Reporters called my office, showed up at my building. Patricia got a restraining order against the media, but it didn't help much. When I took the stand, the courtroom was packed. I saw Jean Westbrook in the gallery, Linda Morrison, Jennifer, Tyler, my parents, Danielle, and Marcus, sitting at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit, staring at me with those cold, empty eyes. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Elena Rodriguez, walked me through everything. The divorce, the first time Marcus showed up uninvited, the flowers, the texts, the escalation, Jennifer's house, the restraining order hearing, his comment about me being his, the escape, the texts from Boston, the photo of Danielle's building. Ms. Rachel, when Marcus texted you, I loved Amanda, I loved Crystal, I loved you, but you all leave. What did you understand that to mean? I understood it to mean that he blamed us for what happened, that in his mind, we forced him to hurt us by trying to leave. And did you believe you were in danger? Yes. I believed if he got to me, he would end my life, just like he did to Amanda and Crystal. Marcus's lawyer objected. Speculation. Crystal's passing was ruled an accident. Sustained, the judge said, but the jury had heard it. I saw it in their faces. Elena also called Jean Westbrook to testify. Jean described Amanda's escalating fear of Marcus, the controlling behavior, the argument at the dinner party, the bruises on Amanda's neck. Linda Morrison testified about Crystal's phone call 2 days before her passing, about how Crystal was planning to leave, about her certainty that Marcus had pushed her daughter down those stairs. The police didn't believe me, Linda said, tears streaming down her face. They said I was grieving and looking for someone to blame, but I know my daughter. I know what happened. Marcus's lawyer tried to discredit their testimony, said they were biased, said they were emotional, said there was no proof Marcus had done anything to Crystal, but the jury was paying attention. I could see it. Elena called Detective Morrison from Boston. He described the manhunt after Marcus's escape, the texts Marcus sent me, the photo of the building, how they found him sitting on a bench across from where I was staying, just watching and waiting. In your professional opinion, detective, what was Mr. Holloway's intent? To harm Ms. Rachel, possibly to take her life. He'd escaped custody specifically to get to her. He tracked her to a different state. He was waiting for an opportunity. The defense rested without calling Marcus to testify. His lawyer argued that Marcus was guilty of escape and violating the restraining order. Yes, but not of attempted harm. That sending texts wasn't the same as physical violence. That sitting on a public bench wasn't a crime. My client loved his ex-wife. He made poor decisions driven by that love, but love is not a crime. Missing someone is not a crime. Wanting to talk to someone is not a crime. Elena's closing argument was devastating. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is about a pattern of obsession, control, and violence that spans 16 years and 3 women. Amanda Westbrook Holloway ended up gone after telling friends she wanted to leave her husband. Marcus Holloway was convicted of her manslaughter. Crystal Morrison ended up gone after telling her mother she was leaving Marcus. Ruled an accident, but under suspicious circumstances. And Rachel, who actually succeeded in divorcing Marcus, found herself stalked, harassed, and hunted by a man who told her she was his and would always be his. A man who escaped from custody specifically to get to her. A man who texted her, "You all leave. You force my hand." That is a confession, ladies and gentlemen. That is Marcus Holloway telling us that he takes the lives of women who try to leave him. The only question is whether you're going to let him do it again. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. I watched Marcus's face as the verdict was read. No emotion, no reaction. Just that same blank stare. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. The judge looked at Marcus for a long moment before speaking. "Mr. Holloway, you are one of the most dangerous individuals who has ever stood before me in this courtroom. You view women as possessions. You cannot tolerate rejection or abandonment. And when women try to leave you, you hurt them. You've taken at least 1 life that we know of, probably 2. And you attempted to take a 3rd. This court can only hope that 25 years in prison will be enough to protect society from you. 25 years. Marcus would be 72 when he got out. If he got out. As they led him away, he turned and looked at me one more time, and he smiled. Not angry, not sad, just that small, knowing smile, like this was just a temporary setback, like he'd be back. Felt cold all over. After the trial, things started to calm down. The media moved on to other stories. I went back to work, started therapy to deal with the trauma. My therapist, Dr. Nina Patel, specialized in domestic violence and stalking cases. What you experienced is called intimate partner stalking, she explained in our first session. It's one of the most dangerous forms of stalking because the perpetrator knows you, knows your patterns, your weaknesses, the people you care about, and unlike stranger stalking, there's usually a history of emotional abuse and control. How do I stop being afraid? Time. Processing. Learning to trust trust yourself again. You survived, Rachel. You recognized the danger and took action. That takes incredible strength, but I didn't feel strong. I felt broken, hypervigilant, paranoid. Every unknown number was Marcus calling from prison. Every unexpected knock on my door was him somehow escaping again. Every man who looked vaguely similar made my heart race. Dr. Patel taught me coping mechanisms, grounding techniques, how to manage panic attacks, how to distinguish between rational fear and anxiety. Slowly, very slowly, I started to heal. 6 months after the trial, I got a letter, forwarded from my old address to my new apartment. The return address was the prison, from Marcus. I almost threw it away unopened, but curiosity got the better of me. Inside was a single page, his handwriting, neat and precise. Rachel, I've had a lot of time to think. About us, about Amanda and Crystal, about everything I did wrong. I want you to know that I finally understand. You were right to leave, right to be afraid. I wasn't a good husband to any of you. I'm getting help here. Therapy, medication. I'm working on myself. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry for everything, for scaring you, for lying to you, for making you feel unsafe in your own life. You deserved better than me. I hope you find happiness, Rachel. Real happiness. With someone who treats you the way you deserve to be treated. I won't contact you again. This is goodbye. Marcus. I read the letter 3 times. Then I brought it to my next therapy session. What do you think? I asked Dr. Patel. Is he genuine? Can people like him change? Dr. Patel read the letter carefully. When she looked up, her expression was serious. It's possible he's genuine. Therapy can help, even with personality disorders. But Rachel, I need you to be realistic. True change takes years, decades. And even then, the recidivism rate for perpetrators of intimate partner violence is very high. So you think it's manipulation? I think it could be. Or it could be both. He could genuinely feel remorseful while also hoping this letter makes you let your guard down, hoping you'll write back, hoping he can reestablish some kind of connection. She was right. The letter was asking for nothing overtly, but it was still contact. Still a way for Marcus to insert himself into my life. I burned it in my kitchen sink, just like I'd burned my fear, or tried to, because here's the truth about surviving something like this. You don't just move on. You don't just heal and forget. It changes you, fundamentally, forever. I became more cautious, more guarded. I researched every person I dated. I checked their backgrounds, their social media, their criminal records. I never let anyone pick me up at my apartment for the first 3 dates. I always met in public places. I always had an exit plan. Jennifer said I was being paranoid. My therapist said I was being appropriately cautious given what I'd been through. Year after the trial, Patricia called me. Rachel, I wanted to give you a heads up. The prosecutor in Crystal's case has decided to pursue charges against Marcus. My heart jumped. Really? They're reopening it? Yes. New evidence. They found emails between Crystal and a friend from 2 days before she passed. Crystal explicitly said she was afraid Marcus would hurt her if she left, that she was planning to go to a hotel first, not tell him where she was, file for divorce. From a distance. That's premeditation on Marcus's part. Exactly. It shows he knew she was leaving. Combined with Linda's testimony about the phone call and the suspicious circumstances of the fall, they think they have enough for a case. When's the trial? 6 months from now. They'll want you to testify again about Marcus's pattern of behavior. The prosecutor thinks your testimony in the first trial was crucial to the conviction. I said yes immediately. For Crystal, for Linda, for Amanda and Jean, for all of us who'd survived Marcus or been lost to him. The second trial was different. Smaller, less media attention. Marcus's story was old news now, but it was no less important. I sat through 3 weeks of testimony. Medical examiners explaining how Crystal's injuries were inconsistent with a simple fall. How there were bruises on her upper arms suggesting someone had grabbed her. How the angle of the fall suggested she'd been pushed rather than tripped. Crystal's friend testified about the emails. She was terrified. She said Marcus had been following her to work, that he'd installed tracking software on her phone, that he told her if she ever left him, he'd make sure she regretted it. Marcus's defense lawyer tried the same strategy as before. No witnesses to the actual fall. No proof Marcus had been anywhere near the stairs when Crystal fell. Just circumstantial evidence and emotional testimony. But this time, the jury wasn't buying it. They convicted Marcus of second-degree intentional harm in Crystal's passing. The Yikes. Judge added another 15 years to his sentence, to run consecutively with the first 25. 40 years total. Marcus would be 87 years old if he ever got out. Linda Morrison sobbed in the courtroom when the verdict was read. So did I. Thank you, Linda said to me afterward, hugging me tight. Thank you for believing me, for helping get justice for my baby. I should thank you, I said. You tried to warn the police. You tried to stop him. I'm sorry they didn't listen, but they're listening now. That's what matters. Jean Westbrook was there too. She'd flown in from upstate to watch the trial. I wish they could try him again for Amanda, she said. But double jeopardy means he can't be charged with the same crime. Twice. He's going to prison for the rest of his life, I said. He'll never hurt anyone again. Good. That's all I wanted. For him to never hurt anyone again. That night, I slept better than I had in 2 years. Marcus was locked away. Really, truly, locked away. No chance of parole for decades. No chance of escape without spending the rest of his life as a fugitive. I was safe, but more than that, I was free. Free from fear. Free from looking over my shoulder. Free from jumping at every unknown number Marcus had taken so much from me. 2 years of marriage. rage, months of terror, my sense of safety, but he hadn't taken my life, and he hadn't taken my future. I started dating again, cautiously at first, but I was determined not to let Marcus win by making me too afraid to trust anyone. Met David at a coffee shop. He was reading a book about astronomy, and I commented on it. We started talking. 3 hours later, we were still talking. Can I get your number? He asked. I'd like to take you to dinner sometime. I hesitated, old fears rising up, but I looked at David, really looked at him, and saw only kindness in his eyes. Sure, I said. On our third date, I told him about Marcus, about everything. I figured if he was going to run, better to know now. He didn't run. That must have been terrifying, he said, reaching across the table to hold my hand. I'm so glad you're safe now. Not, you're so brave, or you're so strong, or any of the performative things people usually said. Just genuine relief that I was okay. That's when I knew David was different. We took things slow, really slow. I had trust issues, lots of them, and David was patient with all of it. When I needed space, he gave it. When I needed reassurance, he provided it. When I had nightmares about Marcus, he held me until they passed. I'm not him, David would say softly. I'm never going to be him. You're not my property. You're your own person. And if someday you decide you don't want to be with me anymore, I'll be sad, but I'll respect it. That's what people who love each other do. The restraining order against Marcus is permanent now. He can never contact me again, even after he gets out of prison, if he gets out. I check the prisoner database sometimes, less and less as time goes on. He's still there, still locked up, still where he belongs. 3 years after the second trial, David asked me to marry him. My first instinct was to panic. Marriage meant vulnerability. Marriage meant someone having power over you. Marriage meant, but then I looked at David, at his kind eyes and gentle smile, at the way he'd supported me through my healing, at the way he made me feel safe without making me feel trapped. Yes, I said, I'll marry you. We had a small ceremony, just family and close friends. Jennifer was my maid of honor. She cried through the entire ceremony. I'm so happy for you, she whispered afterward. You deserve this. You deserve all the happiness. I thought about Amanda, who never got a chance at happiness. About Crystal, who was planning her escape when Marcus took her life. I got to live. I got to heal. I got to find love again. I was the lucky one. 4 years into my marriage with David, I got a letter from the prison. Not from Marcus this time. From the warden. Dear Ms. Rachel, I am writing to inform you that inmate Marcus Holloway passed away on September 3rd due to complications from a heart attack. As you are listed as his emergency contact from his previous marriage, I wanted to notify you of his passing. The body will be held for 30 days. If no family claims it, he will be given a state burial. If you wish to make arrangements, please contact our office. My condolences for your loss. I read the letter twice, then set it down. I felt nothing. No relief, no sadness, no anger, just nothing. Marcus was gone. Really, truly gone. Not in prison, not waiting for parole, not planning another escape. Gone. I called Linda Morrison. She needed to know. Thank you for telling me, she said. Her voice was steady, strong. I won't be making any arrangements for his burial. Let the state deal with him. I called Jean Westbrook next. Good, was all she said. I hope it hurt. I didn't contact the prison about arrangements. Neither did anyone else, apparently. Marcus was buried in an unmarked grave in the prison cemetery. No service, no mourners, no flowers, just a plot number in a ledger. That night, David held me on the couch. How are you feeling? I don't know. I thought I'd feel something. Relief, maybe, or closure, but I just feel empty. That's okay. There's no right way to feel about this. He's really gone now. He can't come back. He can't hurt anyone ever again. He's gone, David agreed. And you're here. You survived him. You built a life. That's what matters. I thought about that. About survival. About building a life from the ashes of trauma. I'd done it. Against all odds, I'd done it. Marcus took Amanda's life. He took Crystal's life. He tried to take mine, but I got away. I'm not his victim anymore. I'm not defined by what he did to me or tried to do to me. I'm just Rachel, wife, accountant, survivor, friend, daughter. A woman who learned to trust again after trusting the wrong person. Who learned to love again after loving someone who didn't understand what love meant. Who learned that sometimes surviving is the greatest victory of all. Jennifer and I got coffee last week. We were talking about random things. Her kids, her job, plans for the holidays. Then she said, I'm really proud of you, you know, for everything. For getting away from him. For testifying. For building this new life with David. You're incredible. I smiled. A real smile. I'm not incredible. I just survived. That's what makes you incredible, she said firmly. You didn't just survive. You lived. There's a difference. She's right. There is a difference. Surviving is getting through each day, making it to tomorrow, breathing in and out. Living is building something new, taking risks, opening your heart again even when it's terrifying. I'm living now, really living. Marcus is gone, but I'm here, and that's enough. That's everything.